Hiya, my name's Elena and this is Elena's Knits. Welcome back to those who've been sitting and knitting with me for a little while. Today I want to show you a new method I set up for tracking my stash. I've talked about before how I'm not really comfortable having too much stash, relatively speaking. And I think what too much stash means is a very individual thing for every knitter. Once upon a time, I only wanted to have what I was working on at the moment and nothing extra. I think pretty much every knitter gets over that pretty quickly in their knitting journey. But now it's like I like to have plans for things or just have a place for all my yarn. And we live in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 people. There's not a ton of storage space, and I like to keep things fresh and moving. If I have things for too long, then I lose interest in them and I will probably never use them. And so, even some of the things I have now, I'll probably give to my sister. She has given stuff to me. So we have the same kind of approach to stash or enthusiasm for not fresh things, which is a privilege. But also I want to talk about the usual things, what I'm wearing and what I've been working on this past week. So today I have fresh off of the drying rack my Store Sand top by Sari Nordland, and this I knit out of Sandnes Garn Duo, which is the yarn called for in the pattern. I knit it out of one of the same colors as Sari used, or whoever knit the sample used, and then a slightly different color. I think hers is like white and yellow. The yellow was sold out when I was buying my yarn, but I found a color that I think works really well for me. The white is 1002, and the nice yellowy green, spring green, is 9825. If you like the color and you want to make one that's the same, I highly recommend. This is such a great summer garment. I get compliments every time I wear it, which is secondary to me just loving it myself. So I'm glad that this is clean because I can take it on the vacation that I'm going on tomorrow. Hooray! So most of my knitting progress this week was on my hyper focus knit, which is this. It is the Selkie top. I'm test knitting for Lotta Löthgren, who owns Elk Market Yarns in Sweden. And this has been such a good experience. I talked about this, I think, the past 2 weeks. Here it's come off the stitches again. I was using, what are they called? Needle protectors. I got some really cool Toronto Blue Jays ones at Knit City Toronto. And they're so useful. I had never really gotten into using them before, but I'm a convert. But I should keep it on it. So since last week I had ripped back quite a bit, and I think I was working on the neck lining, which is in the lace rib pattern. So it's a twisted rib and a little bit of lace. And I was not going to use that for the arms. I was just going to use a twisted rib, thinking, that might be overkill. But I love doing it for the neck so much that I did it on the armholes as well. And I looked back at the photos in the pattern and I noticed that they were done in this pattern and I loved how it looked. There's one less pattern repeat done on the armholes. And I think that works really well. So then I re-knit down to where my bust darts really should be and tried it on and everything. And then I did my bust darts. So now they sit where they should, not like where where they maybe should have been like 10 years ago. Anyways, so, and then I did my bust darts. That worked really well. And this time I had properly read the instructions beforehand. So I did the wrapped stitches the way the designer intended. And so I feel really good about how it looks. and I think it'll fit really well. Yeah, so now I just have to knit, I think not quite 8 inches, or I can't remember how many centimeters it is, before I can start more of the lace rib pattern. I think it's like about that much of the pattern that I'll do at the bottom of the body, and I think that'll be amazing. So yeah, this will be, I'll take this on my vacation and hopefully finish it up while I'm there. So I'll have lots of knitting time. Yeah, I'm loving this. I love the yarn. I have 2 more balls, so hopefully that's enough. I was thinking I would knit in stockinette until I finish these balls and then move on to the twisted lace, the lace rib. I'll just call it lace rib if I can remember. But I think I'll need to start the new balls before that. When I was starting to knit this, I had this left over from another project. So this is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Poppy Blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. I took a peek at some pictures of blue poppies. I think they're also called Himalayan poppies, and something else entirely in Latin, which I don't know yet. And they really are the same color. Lovely, lovely. Knitting for Olive does an amazing job of colors. Yeah, so I needed to get a couple of balls because this needed more since it's being held double. And it was sold out everywhere in Toronto, where I live. So I ordered 2 from Wet Coast Wools in Vancouver, and their customer service was amazing. So good to know that there's a place I can get things from if I need to, or someplace to visit, I'm sure, if I ever am in Vancouver. The only other thing I worked on this week, and barely, is my sock. Yeah, because this week I had, 3 vacation days. Yeah, so this is the one I finished. Yeah, and only 2 days of work, and that's usually when I have my sock along for the journey, for, on the subway or the bus, or in meetings. So I didn't have as much work time this week, and so then less sock knitting time. Oh boy, it's always getting tangled up in the bag. Yeah, last week when I was filming, I did the first row, and I coined my new phrase. I think it's fabulous, which is don't try to talk on the first row of a sock. So true. Anyways, so I've gone beyond the first row now. I think I'm almost done the ribbing. I usually do 10 rows of ribbing. This is a 2x2 rib in Opal Beauty, and then I will continue on. I don't know if that's going to focus. Yeah, there we go. And then I'll go on. I usually use Susan B. Anderson's How I Knit My Socks, or How I Make My Socks. I can't remember. So I'll link that below. Love that pattern. Love this yarn. These I think are going to be for my daughter, but they're a little bit big for her now. Yeah, I want to make a little thing to stick into a sock in progress that curves with the heel, and then, have it marked off. This is where you start the toe for me. This is where you start the toe for my daughter. This is where you start it for my husband or other family members. I think just like a piece of cardboard from a box would work. I know you can buy things. But yeah, I want to make one. So anyways, that's all I've been knitting on this week. Mostly, again, the Selkie top, loving it. Hope to finish it in the next week or 2 weeks. So now I will cut and take you over to my computer, where I'll show you my new stash tracking spreadsheet. So yeah, see what you think about it, and maybe you can tell me how you manage your stash, if you do, whether it's for yarn or fabric or other supplies. All right, see you soon. Okay, we're back. So this is my stash tracker. I created this just yesterday in Google Sheets, um, and I used a one of their pre-built tables, and it was for inventory control or inventory tracking. All right. So, but I changed the table to be all about yarn. So I have the brand, the yarn name, the gauge, the color. So my description of it, but also the manufacturer's one, how many skeins or balls I have, the status. So is it a project in progress? Do I have a firm plan for it? Possible plan, no plan, or am I planning to destash it? And then the location. I have a few places where I squirrel away yarn in our apartment. So there's a dresser where I have a one top drawer, a lower drawer. In between them is my stationery drawer. Um, and then notes like if it's in progress, which project is it, et cetera, et cetera. Or if I have a plan, what is it for? And so you can see this is all of the stuff I have. So I have 21 because the first row is the header. Um, and this is what it is. So most things, actually, I can't really say that there's a trend, but I do have a lot of lace weight, and it's either, kind of cash silk, or it's these make it bloomchen, which is like a thread with a little sequin on it that you can knit with other things. So I used some of this pink for my daughter's Sophie scarf, but I have plans to use another one for that, and then no plans for a light blue. And some sock yarn. So this is everything I have. And when I was doing this, I pulled everything out a la Marie Kondo. Um, there wasn't anything that really didn't spark joy. I think the closest thing was maybe this brown cashmere that I got on Poshmark. I thrifted it. And I've already made a Sophie scarf out of one of the balls, but I have two left that have been untouched. But nothing was so, not sparking joy that I for sure want to destash it. But I'm going to open this up to my sister and see if she wants anything and if I should bring it to her when I visit. So I'll show you what I did to enter things. I have two balls of this Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in Poppy Blue that are for, so I will definitely use these soon for my Selkie top. And so the brand is Knitting for Olive. Ooh. And then the yarn is called Pure Silk. And this is a fingering weight, am I right? Yes, because I'm knitting it double for DK weight. Yeah, 28 meter stitches to 10 centimeters, which is fingering. And this is, I'm just going to call it Poppy Blue. Whoops, because that's descriptive enough. It has a Danish, I guess, name, Valmuebloa, which probably means poppy blue. And the number is 33417. And two untouched balls in progress. It is with project. And so I'll say last two balls for Selkie top. All right, so that's what I do. And I also have another sheet in this spreadsheet, which I'm going to use to track my use of the stash and, So decreases and increases. And I was prompted to do this because I have a trip coming up tomorrow, and I know I'll go to definitely one, probably two yarn stores that I'm really excited about, and it would be hard to not buy anything. And so I was just feeling really like, oh my gosh, how much yarn do I even have? And thinking about my goals for my stash. And really, over the next 6 months, I would like to go back and see I have a bit less stash than I did before. So there's different ways to measure your stash. And there's one way that I actually am not tracking at the moment that I think I'll probably add to this sheet, which is the number of grams. I think that's a good measure of the volume total. So this is today, July 5th. And today I have, so this is just pulled from the other spreadsheet or the other sheet. And it's 33 and a half balls of yarn. There's just one half, and that's from the Make It Bloom chin that I used for my daughter, but it's still a lot. So I am keeping it and counting it. And then also the total types of yarn. So, for instance, if I have 3 different colors of Make It Bloom chin, then that's 3 types of yarn because they could be used for different projects, or they're just different from each other. I don't know. Maybe there's a better way to say that. And then I did a pivot table because I love pivot tables. And this was one of the suggested ones for the table I have. So it tracks the amount of each gauge. So, for instance, I have only one ball of Aran, which is a wool silk from, I think it's from Germany or Austria. That was a gift from my friend. And I have, fair bit of fingering, a lot of lace weight, yeah, a little bit of light fingering, which I mean, probably sock yarn, and then 9 things of sport, yeah, and then 3 worsted. So mostly lace, quite a bit of sport. Yeah, so I can see what are my trends. Will I have less lace next time? Maybe I'll give away some of that Make It Bloom chin. Who knows? Actually, I'm thinking maybe I can bring that pink Make It Bloom chin to my sister. I think, yes, let's get rid of something. So I make room for new friends. Yeah, so this is what I'm doing. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you keep track of your stash. I know you can do this in Ravelry, but I really wanted to track the changes. And I love spreadsheets. I usually use Microsoft Excel at work, but I wanted to use something free and separate from my work documents. So hence Google. If there's another open source spreadsheet program that you know of where for sure you have control over your data, this I'm not so concerned about AI ingesting it, but it's something that I do think about these days. So yeah, if you know of other things you can use that are like this, that have this functionality, but this is working really well in the 1 days since I set it up. But I'm looking forward to tracking this over time. Yeah, so this week was all about stash tracking pretty much. Next week, I'm planning to come back with what I have brought with me on vacation and how my progress is going. I will still be away then, so I hope to also share some pretty scenery from where I have been. And yeah, so I'll see you with that next week, and then back to regular weekly episodes for a while. I hope that you've had a great week. I hope that you have a great week ahead. Please consider liking and subscribing. This week I passed a milestone. I have 305 as of now subscribers. I was looking up if I can decrease the number of ads on my channel because my mom was complaining about that. and I always want to keep her happy. So I learned that I can't do anything about it until I get to the point where you can monetize. So it's like 500 subscribers and a ton of hours viewed. So I think that's going to take a while, but do consider subscribing if you haven't already so that I can get there a bit quicker. Because my plan is instead of monetizing to turn off ads. So that's all I have to say for today. And have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.